Hello everyone, this tarot reading is focusing on this week ahead and what to do for your highest good and the best steps to take. Okay, now the overall energy surrounding you this week coming is the Ace of Swords. Now I absolutely love this because this isn't a week about pushing harder, it's a week really about becoming more clearer. I really feel as though Spirit's actually asking you to kind of step back and honestly look at a situation. Because there is a very strong feeling of kind of, especially with these twos in reversed, kind of going back to the drawing board. But not because you failed or because you're being asked to give up, it's because something needs refining. There may be a simpler or better or more smarter or more effective way of approaching what you're trying to achieve, okay? And it really is like the cards are highlighting to me that, what you really should be kind of questioning to yourself is this approach actually working, okay? Now, for some of you, this could relate to your workplace or boss because I've got the King of Pentacles here, King of Wands reversed, and the Devil. So I do feel, there's two ways that I'm really seeing this, so bear with, but I do feel that there could be someone in a position of authority who is incredibly focused on results or deadlines or money, and their mindset seems to be more push harder or do more or make it happen. But by doing so, they're actually overlooking whether this approach is actually creating the best outcome, because it feels very stubborn or controlling energy where they're just so focused on achieving the end results that they aren't stopping to ask if there's a better way, or they're just not seeing why it's not successful or why it's not working out. Yeah, it's something like that. Now for others, this could be your own energy. Have you convinced yourself that success only comes from working hard or taking on more or constantly pushing yourself, even though you're actually, I think you're starting to see this, my darling, or beginning to realize that your current approach isn't producing the best results you hope for. Okay. And I keep getting this, I think I'm going to go back to work, but I keep getting this visualization of, bear with, because I think I don't know why I'm saying this, but it's very much Five of Wands actually what I'm saying. But imagine a workplace has received a huge order, and the manager's first reaction is to hire more staff because they believe more people automatically means more productivity. But instead, people begin getting into each other's way. Things are being broken, things might be being stolen, communication breaks down, and everything just becomes a lot more stressful. The problem wasn't a lack of effort, it was a lack of clarity and it was a lack of structure, okay? Sometimes it's like the answer isn't doing more. Sometimes the answer is doing things very differently, okay? Looking at it differently, getting more clear, not rushing, not just thinking about the end results, being realistic and looking at with fresh eyes, or being honest with yourself or others, okay? That's what it needs. And communication, being clear, getting very clear. So that's exactly what this week feels like to me. Now with the Ace of Swords and the Seven of Wands, maybe your intuition already knows where something isn't working. Now let's go back to that boss situation or work situation. You may have been seeing very clearly what the problem is or why this isn't working, or you're able to see the bigger picture, or you have a solution, yeah? But perhaps you've kind of questioned yourself, or you've doubted yourself, you've held yourself back because someone else has a louder voice, a higher position, or more confidence, or they believe they have more authority over you in some ways. Yes, they do, but the Seven of Wands reminds you not to let someone else's title or opinion make you doubt what you know to be true. If something needs to be said, say it. If a different approach, makes more sense, do not be afraid to suggest it or take those steps, okay? This isn't about creating conflict or proving someone's wrong. It's about trusting your own judgment enough to stand by it, all right? Now, for some of you, this could simply be a speaking to your manager and saying, actually, I think there's a more of an efficient way of doing this. For others, it could be, looking at your own project and realising that, working 12-hour days isn't necessarily helping you move forward. Maybe simplifying your routine, changing your strategy, or asking for support would create better results than simply working longer hours. Yeah? I also feel this week isn't time to rush into your next decisions. Instead, I feel it's more about slowing down just enough to kind of remove that blindfold and see everything more clearly. And I feel like once you allow yourself to honestly acknowledge what's working and what isn't, the next steps become a lot more clearer or more easier to make, okay? Now, the beautiful thing about this reading is that your peace doesn't come from fixing everything at once. I feel like it really comes from simplifying, putting down what no longer needs your energy, letting go of unnecessary pressure or unrealistic expectations or responsibilities that was never yours to carry in the first place, my darling. But by doing that, you're actually, again, your mind becomes clearer. Your energy feels lighter, and you naturally begin making decisions from the place of confidence rather than stress. Now, the Nine of Cups reverse brings this like kind of reading together, because this asks you to stop chasing the outcome for just a moment and honestly ask yourself whether the way you're trying to achieve this is actually working. Again, it's repeating, yeah? Sometimes we become so focused on reaching the finish line that we keep repeating the same approach or hoping for different results. This week, my darling, isn't about giving up on your goals. It really is about refining how you get there. And my darling, this week isn't asking you to push harder. It's asking you to become more clearer. So before taking your next step, be honest about what's working and what's no longer serving you, and what you're truly trying to achieve. Stand by your truth. Don't allow controlling or unhealthy energy, whether that's from yourself or someone else, to dictate your decisions. And don't be afraid to simplify. Sometimes the strongest move isn't about pushing forwards, my darling. It's about stepping back just long enough to see the path ahead with complete clarity. And I feel like once you do, my darling, your next decisions will be far more aligned with your highest good. And I feel like it will kind of work more in your favour. All right. I wish you all the best. Have a good day.